Helendorf was the first German colony in Azerbaijan and the first Azeri town founded by foreigners. That was in 1819. Later renamed Khanlar, but now known as Göygöl, it carries the indelible mark of 122 years of German cultural influence. German settlers first arrived in Azerbaijan in 1818. 200 families came to the existing town of Elisabethpol, now named Ganja. Helendorf was founded 1 year later by about 120 families. By 1918, over 6,000 Germans had moved into 8 colonies created in the region. They came to the Caucasus for a variety of reasons.
The Germans who arrived here at the beginning of the 19th century came from Württemberg because of the poverty in their country, because of miserable conditions, war, and a lack of jobs. At the same time, the Russian government wanted to increase the number of Christians in this area.
There are no Germans left in Göygöl. The last resident, Victor Klein, died in 2007 at the age of 72. His friend Fikret took us to his house, which was built by Victor's father. We were given special access to the building before it becomes a museum.
Welcome to Victor's house. This is where Victor lived. Everything is really well preserved.
Entering Victor's house is like going back in time. Victor Klein was a radio technician. As well as German, he could speak Azeri and Russian. He was well integrated and rooted in multiple cultures.
In the kitchen there are 2 ovens, a German one and a second one from the Soviet era. The German one is better. Victor and I met in 1951. We met at a youth camp. From 1951 until his death, we were friends. We visited each other and we were very close.
In 1941, after the Nazi attack against the Soviet Union, Moscow issued a decree exiling Germans from the Caucasus. Victor's family stayed, but they were an exception. In 1 week, nearly 200,000 Germans were deported from the Caucasus to Central Asia and Siberia. Over 22,000 had to leave Azerbaijan. It was a bitter blow to a community that had played such a major role in the economic, social, and cultural life.
His father was a Polish senior doctor. He was a member of the Communist Party. At that time, there was a decision that mixed couples wouldn't be deported. Because of that, they were allowed to stay.
Victor, like many other Germans in town, loved to produce homemade wine. That passion was widespread in Göygöl, and still today there are many opportunities to taste local wine. Wine is part of the heritage of German settlers. In 1860, they founded Azerbaijan's first winery here in Göygöl. The company founded by the Forer and Hummel brothers produced nearly 60% of the region's wine by the end of the 19th century. These days, it remains one of the country's most prolific wineries.
The plant continued operating during Soviet times. It produced cognac and spirits, which were sold in the Russian market and in Europe.
The Germans left their mark also in terms of architecture and urban planning. Azerbaijan's first Lutheran church was built here in 1857. Today, it is a museum. Strolling around the town center, you can find over 300 German houses along the notably straight streets.
There are things we learnt from them and things they learnt from us. In 1822, that type of construction was a big advance. At that time, streets in Azeri cities were curved like this.
Germans were an active and well-integrated community in Azerbaijan. Their legacy has become part of the Azeri cultural heritage. In our next edition of Azerbaijan Life, we travel to the Great Caucasus to meet the artisans of Lahich, noted for their skills with copper.